Yo, what's going on YouTube? Kronos here, and welcome back to the PSO2 video. So today's video, I'm going to be doing an update to my original just mining run, showing you guys kind of what I tend to do on a daily basis whenever I'm gathering in PSO2. Before I jump into that, guys, if you're new to the channel, my name's Chrono. I do content over here on YouTube daily. We'd much appreciate a subscribe as we claw our way up to that 10K mark. We crushed 6K and we're getting close. So actually, I think we're about 6.3, so 6.5, hopefully, we'll get there, but we'll see how things look at the end of the year. Anyway, let's jump into this. Enough shilling. So I did a video like this twice now, actually. I did one during the beta, and then I did one after launch, shortly after launch, and to show off the mining nodes. Now, originally during launch, if you played during that time frame, mining was kind of bugged. Unfortunately, a lot of people weren't getting their mining node respawns. So now that has been fixed, and mining nodes do reset on a daily. Now, one thing we have noticed, I've noticed with other content creators, but it seems like mining nodes don't reset all on the daily. It seems like they build up over the course of a couple of days or a couple of resets. My guess is between 1 to 3 days total, but it's hard without tacking every single mining node and then knowing exactly which ones respawn for you. So it's a little bit randomized in a sense where you're not going to get all of your mining nodes, but it is nice because in case you miss a day, you're not missing out on mining overall. So for those of you guys who just want to jump to exactly where I go and what I do, I'm going to go ahead and just show you the route I take really quick here, just mousing over. It's not very difficult, but essentially what we're going to do is we're going to teleport over to Halfana Plains. We're going to run north and we're going to grab everything along this line here, double back, make sure we catch everything in case we miss anything. Also along these cliffs here tend to have a couple of nodes that we might grab. We're going to head over this way, right up into this corner, jump down here. We're going to make a full lap around North Aelio. Jump up to these plateaus, head up north here as well, and then we're going to make a full lap around here. You can kind of decide, honestly, which way you want to go on this one, but all of these nodes are here. There's nodes all around here. Not a ton of them, but there's a decent number of them, as well as a ton of nodes across the plateau, and there's a couple of really cool spots right over here. So we're going to grab all of those nodes to start with. Afterwards, we're going to teleport down south, hit South Aelio. There's going to be a waterfall that will take us into a cave where there'll be tons of nodes in that area itself if you haven't been over there. There's another waterfall right over here in this area down here that has a bunch of nodes. And then there's 2 caves in this area roughly that I'm going to show you that have some decent nodes as well. Outside of that, I just tend to kind of randomly go through this area, pick up nodes as I go along. Now, it is worth jumping down to Kanai Island because there are a couple of nodes down here too. But when I do these routes, I might basically just kind of like toss on Netflix or toss on like something to watch in the meanwhile, maybe toss on one of you guys' streams from any of my other content creator buddies and just run the actual process itself. Takes usually, I want to say about 45 minutes overall, but it's a pretty calming process just before you jump into, fighting consistently or anything along those lines. Now, I will say, if you've been doing this since beta release, you really don't have to be honest. You're going to be swimming in resources after some time, but if you're getting new, if you're just jumping into this, you're a little bit new, say like someone who's prepared for Brave or coming out or anything along those lines, it's worth going ahead and taking care of those. But our big money tickets really are going to be in South Aelio, especially the cave that's under Mount Magnus. Actually goes right around to here. It's kind of cool, as well as North Aelio, and then of course this river right across here, our river of truth from beta. But this river right across here, of course, is going to have plenty of nodes. And there are other spots that kind of are out in like different areas. Mount, I'm not even going to try to say the name for it, but this mountain's got a couple of really great nodes in these spots. It's worth just kind of investigating. There is a cave, I believe, between West Aelio and Central Aelio that has a couple of nodes in it as well. It's worth picking up. But other than that, I would just say go across the cliffs, anything along those lines. But I'm going to show you guys like the real important spots. But we've been talking for about 4 minutes. Let's go ahead and jump into the actual mining route. So, like I said, this is gonna look different for everyone. And if you miss a day, not a huge deal. Man, I kind of wish this would stay turned off. There we go. It turns back on every time I teleport. So it's worth noting that you can pick up resources pretty easily if you're playing a ranger or a class that has tech available to it. Zonde is really, really great for just zapping mobs while you're doing this process. I'm not going to very much. I'm going to try to, control myself and not worry about it as much, as if I do, it's going to be a much longer video. But we're just going to run up and down this spot completely. Now, I do usually mine pretty, I don't want to say religiously, but pretty consistently. See, I'm already doing it and I can't kind of help myself most of the time because I just tend to off muscle memory basically. So Those of you guys who want to stick around for the actual run itself, you can kind of see what you'd be looking for. And if you have a strong weapon, just take that weapon itself and just rush, hit the item itself, or hit the item. If you're a ranger, honestly, rangers are doing the game a service at the moment, because if you weak bullet something, then it shows up for everyone that's in that area until they actually hit it. So it's pretty nice. If you catch a ranger weak bulleting mining nodes, it's kind of a, you know, super helpful. So, man, I don't have a lot of mining nodes. I guess I did mine yesterday, didn't I? Yeah, that's okay. So usually whenever I double back, I come across the top because there are some mining nodes up here. Do make sure that you, of course, gather and kill some enemies, because you want meat, you want seafood, of course. You're gonna want just all these different things. See, like, yeah, there's a couple of nodes here and there. I feel like they're node pockets, really, and then like a couple of nodes in those node pockets respawn, and over time you get more and more. It seems like server reset almost fully resets them, from what we can tell, but I'll have to test that out after maintenance. I think there's going to be maintenance, at least. I'll have to test it out after the next maintenance, so I'm going to try and resist attacking those enemies, but again, if you have Zonde, it's just so insanely easy to just literally chain Zonde them and just keep running. But yeah, there's a couple of nodes across the top here. Nothing too crazy going on, but we can mostly just kind of have a bit of a chat as we do this process. Jump down, and then of course follow this. One thing I will not miss are these trees, because fruit is definitely very useful. But how goes everyone's NGS experience? To be honest, I hate to say it, but leveling was probably the most fun I had, because that's when we were all just kind of fighting enemies, mindlessly grinding. That was probably the most action-packed time, and thank God I took the time to prep a bunch of gear, because I was able to play every single class basically to its fullest as I was leveling it, and that was really fun. The leveling process did go by a bit faster because I had gear, don't get me wrong, and I would have loved for it to be longer, but I would have hated that that longer process was the fact that I had like no gear and felt super weak, to be honest. So I'll take a shorter leveling process if it was so much more fun than a longer one that I would have had to drag through personally. At least that's just me. Of course, everyone has their different opinions of the process itself. I do feel kind of bad, man. I kind of hope that SEGA looks into re-releasing a bunch of fashion stuff, because there's a lot of players that have questions about, you know, my camos, the outfit I wear all the time, and all that sort of different stuff. And the camo, I think, is still accessible logging into the Steam version of the game. Maybe. If not, you have to buy it from base PSO2 from another player, which I don't believe this is too expensive, at least this knuckle camo. But there's a lot of like really good mission pass only camos. Yeah, so you can see there's a lot of seafood and things like that across there. We're not going to worry about that. We're just going to keep on going, head right into this area. And for the sake of time, I'm not going to actually do the lap around here. Usually I do this lap primarily because there's tons of green boxes, tons of enemies that I can kill along the way. But the most important areas are what I'm going to show you guys. So we're going to head directly over to the plateau. The plateau's got some of the best spots. Should jump up here and up here as well. And I mean, like I said, you can always opt to not worry too much about it. If your time is limited, you can't spend all day mining and gathering and all this other stuff. I tend to just do it casually. I'm kind of lucky in the fact that I do work from home, meaning I can, whenever I have like a break or if there's some downtime for me, I can just run around and gather casually. And then if I have to stop, I can just, pause my gathering process at any point in time when I'm looking into. If you're like me also, you might, want to have some action mixed in the bit as well. Taking down veterans is not a bad idea. They do give dread drops, which are pretty good with the Giant armor that just recently came out, kind of helping offset that those defense negatives just a tad bit. Though, the status ailments are kind of rough if you're wearing 3 of those at the very least. I'm not sure if you guys saw my buddy Mark's video, but our friend Mark, aka KOEG, showed a video talking about all the status ailments, and also released a video showing that if you have all 3 Giant armor on, you're instant status effect whenever you hit with something, so that's rough. Oh, see, here's the thing I was talking about with rangers. If you are a ranger, weak bullet mining nodes. Not only does it take it out in like a single shot for you, but it also just helps everyone around you that's also mining. So I know I saw a thread where someone was complaining about seeing these red dots on the map. Honestly, I'm I'm sorry you feel that way. I don't want them to stop doing it. Like, I legitimately want to be able to keep seeing it. I know that's a bit selfish, but to be honest, it makes life so much easier. I know some people have gone to the option of just modding. Oh, looks like we had a task here. That's right, we did have that task we never completed. Some people have gone to the point of just modding the rocks to have their texture shoot up into the sky so they can find mining nodes easier. Funny enough, Sega's TOS actually doesn't straight up, condemn modding. They are just against, anything that's copyright infringement, basically. So if you want to like do your own little modding here and there, technically based on their TOS is not a negative thing. Now, I'm not responsible for your account or what you choose to do. And again, they mentioned the whole copyright stuff, so that is a risk. It's up to you. I personally decided not to because honestly, it's not that hard finding enough mining nodes, and I'm already swimming in resources because I saved so many of them. So, which is pretty comfy. That means I can take a day off of mining if I need to. If there's some crazy content coming out that I really want to put a lot of time into, I don't have to worry about my mining nodes and my mining routes and so on and so forth. I can just put all my time into playing 100% when that time comes. But at the moment, we're just farming gigantic, so yeah, not that important, to be honest. I'm probably just going to get my weapon, more than likely buy the one I'm looking for, my Straga double saber, as well as make my units eventually. I don't know if I'm going to make the Giant units. I'm still kind of back and forth about that. This is the other spot, by the way, I was talking about with all these units, or these mining nodes. Usually you're going to find a lot more around here. I said I've got a couple. I know I mined this spot yesterday. So you'll find a couple more around this area. Now, you may or may not need these nodes. You may or may not need these resources. But what I'm finding is that you can combine some resources, or you can combine some stuff into other things. Kind of like I thought they were going to do for affixing anyway. So there might be a chance they opt to combine lower resources into higher resources. So having, a flood of them isn't a bad thing, I don't think. Just keep an eye out for enemies. And if you do like to get into combat, of course, like I mentioned beforehand, you can fight the veterans. It's a good little source of not only resources when it comes to selling, if you have the option to sell on the marketplace, which, man, if anyone from Sega is watching, if you actually watched all the way to this point, I can understand what people want to do with the whole premium thing, but not letting free-to-play players sell stuff on the market is actually just hurting the market for all of us. It's not even about saving it from one side versus the other. I mean, people are already saying premium's not really worth it at the moment, which I can kind of get. I personally think it's worth it, but I also value that amount of money substantially less than some other people do. So that's just my take on that situation itself. But I don't think that that selling things on the market should be specifically for premium players, because the market can be used for everyone, and it's really helpful. It actually is kind of reversed. Selling things on the market would be really nice. If they just didn't let people buy things on the market, that would suck too, but I feel like selling things on the market would make things a bit easier, to be honest. It would just make it more difficult for us to buy things. I don't know. I think having the market behind any sort of premium or any sort of paywall is kind of a bad thing, even if it's only half of it. So that's just my take on the situation itself. Hopefully they change it. But we're gonna grab these nodes because I saw them, and we only have one more really big spot I want to show off in the video itself. So we'll grab these nodes really quickly since they were here, and then we're gonna teleport off. So next we're gonna head to South Aelio. Like I said, normally I'd run around this entire area, pick up all the nodes around, but they're usually fairly scattered, and most of the time I do this area primarily just to pick up resources, kill the enemies that are around. Now, this spot specifically is one that tends to throw people off pretty hardcore. I'm gonna show you guys the cave to start with. So this is literally right after we drop from the Reeker device. You can drop down right here. There's a waterfall, and there's a very convenient cave right here for us. If you haven't been here beforehand, man, are you missing out. Not only is there a what is it called, a cocoon over here, which, man, I want some more stuff with cocoons. Let's not go on to that tangent. But not only is there a cocoon on here, but there are tons of resources, and absorbent amount of resources. We're going to go this way. We'll go up that way on our way out, but we're just gonna head right down here, pick up all of these mining nodes. And this is probably gonna be the last video like this specifically. I might show off a few other things as just standard farming, but it's worth knowing the routes. Once you learn them, you really don't need to worry about videos like this. Like, you kind of just run through it on your own. Maybe have this playing in the background so you at least know the areas a bit. You can compare your nodes versus my nodes, see what you've got. Now, I know I mined this yesterday, so Let's just do a bit of a lap around this area. Yeah, if you've never been here before, by the way, it's got so many nodes. Don't mess yourself up. They like to put nodes right around the rocks so you can't see them from far away, so it's worth just jumping over the rocks themselves just to double check the nodes. Like, there'll be nodes in between all that stuff. It can be kind of annoying. So while it's on topic at the very least at the time of recording this video, people are pretty excited about Braver. Braver's looking really, I can't say Braver's looking good, right? But I know people are really excited to see what Braver is going to look like, I guess is the what I meant to say there. Oh, small tip. You notice the particle effects? You can see them through the rock sometimes. Let's see if I can show it off here. Nah, you can't see it there. Let's see if I can find a rock. If they're close enough to the rocks, you can see the particle effects through the rock. It'll let you know where there is. See, like, okay, that one's actually close enough to the rock. I can probably show you real quick. As I walk closer to this rock, I can see the particle effects there. And I can see the rock. Easy. Just break it and loop our way out. So we've run all the way around. Of course, double check close in the inside portion because there could be some stuff around there. There could be a node behind that rock itself, which doesn't look to be. Looks like we covered everything. Let's head out of this tunnel. This is probably one of the biggest caves that has the most mining nodes in it. But there is a few more spots that some people actually don't know about that I have found that have quite a few mining nodes all in one spot. So I'll do my best to show on the map where I'm at when I do that process. So you guys will be able to see exactly where to run to. I'll probably do each of them from the Reeker device. Usually I just run around myself and pick up things as I go along. But if I can show you from the Reeker device, it'll be easier for you to kind of just map it in your head, in my opinion. And if you guys like that, let me know if it's not something you enjoy. If you want to just see a full route all the way through, then we can look into that. I'm probably going to double check with artist Anibal, see if we can put together a little bit of a map that just kind of gives a small route for people to go through. The map isn't exactly the easiest thing to note, or isn't the easiest thing to utilize, to be honest. It's decent, but it could use some work, especially putting mining nodes, at least on the mini map, would be really nice. Just resources in general would be super helpful. All these yellow dots don't really tell me a whole lot. I think the circle ones are like regular enemies, and the triangle ones are like, or circle ones are creatures like endemic life or whatever, like all of them from Monster Hunter. Other ones are regular enemies. So you can find nodes around here and around there as well. So normally what I would do is I would just kind of hop back up into this and head back, just because you can get a couple of extra nodes on here. So we're just going to go ahead and head back to the Reeker device. And during beta, there was actually a Banshee here, or Banther here, excuse me. And the Reeker device should be right around this corner. Pop this. And yep, here it is again. So in case you're curious about this next area we're going to be going to, we can show you directly from the Reeker device. Here we are. Now we're going to just jump down, and we're headed directly for that. Nope, wait. This waterfall. Got lost there for a second. It's not that waterfall. We're headed over here, actually. Gonna drop down. We can pick up some boxes on the way and head directly for this waterfall right back here. Because of the rendering issues, you can see that there is actually a cave behind that waterfall. And these are just the settings that I'm using at the moment, which is why the rendering looks like this. It kind of is a little choppy and a little weird looking, but it does the best for me being able to play consistently without dealing with too many frame dips. So, and this cave is chock full of minerals, especially if you've never been back here before. Super, super helpful. Especially if you're new and trying to get a bunch of nodes. Like, you can probably get all the chunks you need and everything you need as you go along. Small tip, if you guys missed my video on this, if you're new, don't rush into collecting stuff. There are going to be side missions, things like that. They're going to ask you to collect things, so just wait. All right, so we're out of here. Let's head up. So we're just going to take all of these upward. Actually, I think, yep, okay, so that's what we're going to do. So we just dropped out of the cave here. Just take this first jet upward, and we're going to go through a cave backwards. I usually go through the other direction, because I forgot that it's actually right here. Normally there were a couple of nodes outside, but again, I mined here yesterday, so they probably wouldn't spawn. And there's a cave right here. Pro tip, if you ever see these two like posts nearby, usually that means like there's an entrance to something, or in most cases there's like an area over here. But usually there is going to be nodes all throughout here. It looks like, did I get a single node? Oh, okay, I got a couple respawn up top. But usually means that there's something there for you to kind of run through. And oh, we're reaching, yeah, okay, we're a little over, we're at 20 minutes now, so let's wrap this up. A couple nodes at the top. And there are 2 more spots I want to show off. First one comes to this big old swirly area where Didal Axe spawns at the bottom. All you want to do is jump down to the bottom of the upper platforms, basically. They're right here. I'll go ahead and show you guys where I'm at on the map. You can see is where we are at the moment. So it's right just a little northwest of the actual Reeker device. Again, just head over to the swirl area where Didal Axe spawns. You can ignore him, but you want to go to the bottom floor of, well, the bottom of the upper floors here. And you'll find a couple of mining nodes around the outside here. You'll see one down there we'll get in a minute, but the big money spot, again, look, 2 pillars. Big money spot is right here. Now, I think mine's actually empty, which is really sad. Again, I would have had to wait a couple of days to record this based on what I was dealing with, or based on what I think is the way this is working out. But if you haven't been in this area is chock full. And it actually, pro tip, if you haven't been in this area has a red box. So if you haven't watched Animana's playlist on where all the red boxes are, you don't know about this area. Pretty useful though. All right, we're gonna head to the last area that I find to have some of the most stuff in it. I'm gonna go and pick up this node because I'll forget it 100% and be like, yeah, I did all my mining already because I made this video. I'll have to worry about it. So for this last node, we're going to head up. We're just gonna jump into this vent. And we're gonna take it up as far as it'll go. Up, 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 up. And I was wrong. Not as far as it'll go. Drop down 1. So basically all the way to the top of the swirl. If you run around, go all the way to the top of the swirl itself. Once you get up here, notice there's 2 more pillars over there. Yet again, another cave. So this one actually leads back to Central Aelio, I believe. But there's usually a bunch of nodes in here as well. So let's see if a couple of them respond. Pretty useful little spot for mining. And I kind of thought about cutting this up into pieces, honestly, but I wanted to show the full route itself. See, we got all this done in about roughly 20 minutes. And that covers all of South Aelio. Again, we went all through here. You've got all around North Aelio here. The plateau and around the backside of the plateau itself. Up top, or I'm sorry, plateau itself around the backside of the plateau. All of South Aelio, all of the caves that you can jump into that are really, really helpful. And then the last one is going to be a cave that actually connects west to Central. It's a cave that you went through at the very beginning of the game, to be honest. So I'm not really worried about showing that specific cave off. I highly recommend, because I don't really have a great path for West Aelio. If you know someone who does, or if you have your own path, feel free to link it in the comments below. Be more than happy to explore it. But this has been the most consistent for me at the very least. This covers pretty good amount of minerals, and you'll get a lot taken care of in a short amount of time. That was what? Yeah, it's about 23 minutes. It wasn't too bad. And we spent about 4 minutes talking. So I'd say a little less than 20 minutes overall to get all these nodes taken care of, which is quite a bit of farming. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. As always, a like is much appreciated, helps out a ton. Subscribe if you want to keep up with the content. Don't forget the bell icon, be notified of videos when they go up. And community posts, or join us over on YouTube. I'm sorry, join us over on Discord, or follow me over on Twitter for notifications via those 2 avenues. Thank you all so much for watching all the way to the end, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Peace out.